I've been keeping up with this story with the whole R. Kelly shit and all the victims and Aaliyah. So not too long ago, her uncle Barry Hankerson was on Dr. Oz show discussing what's going on or whatever. And I'm gonna play a little clip because I couldn't get the full interview, but I have a clip of it. So here it is. Just a second. And then we're gonna discuss some shit.
Aware of the issues going on with R. Kelly when they were going on?
No, didn't have a clue. Completely ignorant to it.
Do you think anyone in the family was?
Yes. I think my sister knew a lot more than what we thought she knew.
Okay, that was just a clip. Hey, King Ling Leo, how are you? So yeah, basically, her uncle revealed that her mother knew what was going on with R. Kelly and Aaliyah. And I'm going to say this. I don't believe he didn't know anything because he was R. Kelly's manager. Like, motherfucker, you knew R. Kelly was into young girls. And you were the one who introduced your niece to that piece of shit. So don't put it on just Aaliyah's mother. All y'all motherfuckers knew. The only people that was in the dark about that shit was Aaliyah's father. But the rest of the motherfuckers knew what the fuck was going on and turned a blind eye. That's why you think, and if y'all pay attention, Aaliyah's mom is such in denial. It's like, lady, you were not always around your daughter. And if you were, you obviously was neglectful or you just didn't give a fuck what was going on. I'm sorry. Like, even like there, like in the thing, like in that Surviving R. Kelly documentary, there was a chick on there that said she caught R. Kelly sexually abusing Aaliyah, and then the mom gonna put out a statement saying that's a lie. How is it a lie? Y'all the one that got Aaliyah's marriage annulled, so how the fuck did you not know what was going on? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're covering up shit, and that's why Aaliyah's mom is silent about the whole shit. She just be in denial anytime someone says some shit went on with her daughter, with that piece of shit R. Kelly. Yeah, he's full of shit, Clean Leo. He's trying to throw his sister under the bus, but it's like, y'all, both of you motherfuckers knew. And I heard some shit that basically she was having an affair with R. Kelly. This is some shit I heard, that Aaliyah's mother was fucking R. Kelly. And these are the facts of the situation as far as the Leah shit and the R. Kelly goes. I'm gonna tell y'all, a lot of shit came out in R. Kelly's trial in regards to what he fucking did to Aaliyah. One of R. Kelly's backup dancers was in trial saying how, which she also said that he sexually abused her as well. So she brought up an incident where she caught R. Kelly sexually abusing Aaliyah, basically having oral on Aaliyah at 13 fucking years old. So all this shit was taking place. And he also sexually abused the chick that caught that and it caught them in act. And it's shit just very sickening to me. And honestly, R. Kelly shit was open secret. This nigga was known in Chicago for trying to holler at chicks in high school and shit, man. This was a known thing, so everyone knew this about R. Kelly. Everyone knew R. Kelly was into young girls. Way before the whole Aaliyah marriage thing, this shit been going on for decades. This shit goes back to the fucking 80s. This is how long this shit been going on. And her uncle introduced that piece of shit when she was 12 years old. And there's actually a song that he did a while back talking about some little Leah got that vibe. And she was 12 years old at that fucking time when he was singing that song about her. And it's like, the piece of shit just got away with so much. I feel like he was protected. That's how he was able to get away with shit. Like, this shit is really bigger than what we know. Because he couldn't even do this. He couldn't even pull this bullshit without other people orchestrating shit. Luring the chicks onto R. Kelly. Like, he had help. And then of course we found out that I'm gonna tell you another reason why he married Aaliyah. And these are just facts. He thought Aaliyah was pregnant. That's why he married her, and he was trying to avoid charges. So he fucking married her, and someone in his team bribed someone to create a fake ID so Aaliyah can get married illegally. In the marriage certificate, it says that she was 18. She wasn't 18, she was 15. And it's like, they failed Aaliyah and these girls, man. That motherfucker got away with so much. And when that fucking tape came out with him urinating on a fucking child, I was done with his ass right then and there, man. That shit was sick as fuck. And see, the girl that was in the tape, which was Sparkle's niece, she didn't want to testify, so that it didn't go anywhere. So that's how that piece of shit was able to get off. And even Damon said recently that Aaliyah, when they were together, Aaliyah did bring up what went down with her and R. Kelly. And it was to the point, like, she told Damon, I don't want to talk about it no more. Like, so it was obvious it impacted Aaliyah. Like, that piece of shit ruined a lot of lives, man. And he deserves to fucking go to jail. Fuck him. He's physically, mentally, and sexually abusive. He's a piece of shit. He have destroyed a lot of women's lives. And not only that, it came out that he also molested some boys. So that came out too. It's two dudes came out in trial saying what he did to them or whatever. And this motherfucker had these people in captive, like they had to get permission for them to urinate and shit, crazy shit like that. Like, that nigga, something is very wrong with him. Like, that's, and then in a trial, I heard that this piece of shit made one of his victims eat his shit. Like, that's disgusting. Like, he's a fucked up individual. And it's like, I'm just glad that Aaliyah didn't have to deal with that shit, because it could have really affected her if she was still living and having to hear this shit, all this shit coming out. that could have really like fucked her up mentally. And I'm gonna play an interview what Damon Dash said.
I asked you about that because I figured you would. It's back in the news again. You said that after hearing some of the stuff about R. Kelly, you would need therapy. What did you mean by that?
When you hear about things and you can't do anything about it, you have to internalize. So I have to figure out how to release it so it doesn't turn into cancer in my body. That's what I meant.
Now that we have been told things, that they were indeed married, that he feared.
I know all that.
Did y'all ever talk about it?
Like, we talked about it up to the point where it hurt. And then she said, I don't want to talk about it no more. Leave it alone. And when she would, I kind of didn't want to know because I would have to respect her wish no matter what. And her wish was, leave it alone, let me heal, let me rest, I'm in love, let's just enjoy this.
She had moved past it.
Yeah, 100%. And I had helped her.
Mm-hmm. As you hear all this other stuff.
Yeah, that's really sad, man. Ugh. So y'all heard what Damon Dash said about what's going on with the R. Kelly trial and shit, and he did speak on the fact that him and Aaliyah did have that conversation. So yeah, man, it's just he's a piece of shit, and I hope he goes to fucking prison. He's a piece of shit. And I'm gonna tell you what's so fucked up in society. Times was really different back then because I remember that shit very vaguely with that Aaliyah situation because I was really young. I remember like some people saying how they didn't put the responsibility on the R. Kelly. They just was like, oh, she's just fast. And they said that even about the girl in the tape. Like they didn't treat these girls like they were victims. They treated them like they were fucking fast and shit. And just kissed R. Kelly's ass over the decades. So we, the public, we have a hand in this as well. We should have been put our fucking foot down with this piece of shit. Because I know I was done with that motherfucker after that child porn came out. Fuck that motherfucker. Because you see this motherfucker has a pattern. And I have looked at old interviews of Aaliyah, like if they would ask her about R. Kelly, and she would just always say along the lines of, yeah, that was she didn't want to get into it, but she would say like, oh, that was just something in my life or whatever. Like, despite of that bullshit that happened to her, she still remained positive. Like she didn't let that shit define her. And I know that shit affected her when that fake ass marriage came about, which was illegal. And her family had to get it annulled or whatever. But I don't believe her mother didn't know shit. And I think, and this is what I think, they sold her to the highest bidder. This is just what I think. This is how these industry parents get down. A lot of times when people want fame and money, they will sell their kids off to the highest bidder. And I don't believe her mother didn't know. And I don't believe her uncle didn't know. These motherfuckers knew and just turned a blind eye. And I have done my own research about this. And I stumbled on this comment that I found on Lipstick Alley. And this person who left this comment, they seemed like they were close to the situation at hand. I'm going to read to y'all what this person said. And it's a long ass paragraph too. they said that, as long as paragraph 2, this is what they said. They said, I wasn't going to comment about what I know for sure, and I also thought about going incognitive, but if Aaliyah's people figured out who I am, then come for me because I have to say this. Sadly, Aaliyah and her father's relationship was strained at best. When she died, and it was strained because, unlike Diane, which was her mother, he was not stuck on her being a star. Diane was more like a big sister to Aaliyah, and instead of being a more traditional parent like Michael, which was her father, it was Diane who was the stage parent. Aaliyah's father, Michael, was probably the only adult in her life who actually had her best interests at heart. Her father didn't approve of Robert, which is R. Kelly, mentoring his daughter, but his wife, Diane, and brother-in-law, Barry Hankerson, convinced him otherwise, since it was something Aaliyah really wanted. Therefore, I think, like some parents do, she projected her own dreams and aspirations onto her daughter. Michael went along to get along for the sake of pleasing his daughter and especially his wife. Being that Diane was managing Aaliyah and her brother was CEO of the record company Aaliyah was on, Michael just always took what Diane told him for face value. Diane, however, wasn't completely oblivious to what was going on. When Robert and Aaliyah got married, Diane wasn't shocked or upset, but Michael, he was blindsided and hit the fucking roof. He's the only reason that marriage got annulled and the only reason Aaliyah got an abortion in the first place. Aaliyah and Robert was actually very much in love, sickening as hell, I know. And Barry and Diane tried to convince Michael that they could keep the pregnancy and marriage out the media, but Michael wasn't having none of it. He actually threatened Barry with a lawsuit and Diane with a divorce. That's what led to the annulment/abortion. Afterwards, Michael sent Leah to Tokyo to get her as far away from Robert as possible because Robert was doing all he could to keep in contact with Aaliyah. And at that point, Michael didn't trust Barry or Diane with making sure that they wouldn't go behind his back and allowing Robert to still have contact with her. So he felt that by sending her as far away as possible would be best. After he sent her to Tokyo, he tried to do everything possible to make sure that Robert was never again in Aaliyah's life. The NDA came about because Michael was so pissed that he was actually planning to file statutory rape charges on Robert. But of course, that would have been bad business for his brother-in-law, Barry, which Michael didn't give a damn about. But when the lawyers told him that it would also put his daughter in a horrible position because it would have led to court testimonies, etc., Michael didn't file the charges. Instead, it was Michael who put an NDA in place, and the NDA was actually from Robert to never speak his daughter's name again. In addition to that, he also made Barry and Robert pay up. I know it's being said that it was 100, but it was actually $1 million that was paid out to Aaliyah, and Michael put all that money in a trust for her because he wanted Aaliyah to leave the industry altogether. But Aaliyah refused because she really wanted stardom. So Michael took over the bulk of responsibilities in managing her career because after that fiasco, he refused to be out of the loop and have Diane manage everything. That's why after the Robert situation, it was Michael who made sure that she had a family member keeping an eye on her at all times. Something Aaliyah hated, by the way, and it was him who started getting her into acting. He felt that she could act and sing on various movie soundtracks while not being a full-on performer, going on tour and all that, but she really wanted to be the consummate entertainer. Now let's fast forward. As soon as Aaliyah turned 18, she told Michael that she no longer wanted him managing her because she felt as if Michael was too strict. And Diane resumed full management duties again. As soon as Diane was back being her full-time manager, she quickly moved into her own apartment in New York City and started heavily hanging out with the it crowd during that time, and Michael didn't like it one bit. Once she started dating, we're going to skip to that part. I just want to read the main thing about the R. Kelly thing. But yeah, it was a long ass paragraph. What's up, AMR? What's up, Jacksonville? What's up, BSC? So yeah, her dad was in the dark about that shit. He was the only person that didn't know. The rest of the family did. And as soon as he found out about that shit, he got that shit annulled immediately. And see, that's why her mother is in such in denial, because she's obviously in guilt. She doesn't want to speak on it, on the truth. Because people would question her about, like, well, where were you? Where were you? Would you turn a blind eye? So it would make her look bad. And the thing is, everyone failed Aaliyah. That's just a cold part of the situation. But on a positive note, I'm glad she moved forward despite of everything that was done to her. Because I can't imagine, honestly. It's just very fucked up what R. Kelly did to all these people. Just ruin lives. And he also, like, would force some of these chicks to get abortions and shit. After he victimized them, he would force them to go get an abortion. He's just a sick ass person. And I've heard that he was molested by his sister, so he didn't get the proper help that he got. He should have went to fucking therapy. But you know what? He chose to violate motherfuckers. He chose to be the perpetrator. It's just, I'm like, it's so like it's to a point, like, I can't even fucking listen to Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, because out of the whole, it's just, I can't even listen to that fucking album without thinking about that sick bastard. Because he wrote all the songs, he produced it, and it's like, you look back at shit, you be like, man, this sick motherfucker had a song called Age Ain't Nothing But a Fucking Number. Like, he was already telling us he was into young girls. Hey, MR. Hello? We can't hear you. AMR, you're muted. Hello? We can't. Come back in and see if it helps, because we can't hear you. Yeah, it's just fucked up all around. Like, that dude is a sexual deviant. Like, the shit he had women doing is just some sick shit. Like, I don't see any rehabilitation with this dude. Dude is just sick in the head. That's why he need to just be locked the fuck up, honestly. And I remember, like, hearing about that child pornography and everyone just talking about that shit. It was so bad. Like, motherfuckers was even selling that shit. And people were trying to figure out if it was R. Kelly in tape. And what was so fucked up about it, he tried to put it on his fucking brother to save his own ass. He gonna lie and say that was his brother in the tape. And if only that victim would have testified against his bitch ass, he would have been locked the fuck up. But that's the only reason why that charges got dropped, because she didn't testify. And that was Sparkle's niece. And I'm gonna tell y'all, like, it seemed to me like some of these grown women was living vicariously through these young girls, because Sparkle was even messing with that motherfucker. And it's like, it just seemed like it just, and then I hear the shit about Aaliyah's mother possibly fucking this piece of shit as well. It's just really like wild. Hey, Amar. Hello. You're still muted. You're gonna have to fix your mic because we can't hear you. Hello? Yeah, come back in. Silent J says he called Sparkle to get a divorce. They was fucking around, and that piece of shit messed with her fucking niece in that fucking child porn tape. Urinated on her, and I mean, that's disgusting. Like, he's a sick puppy. And the whole thing is just sickening. Like, it's hard for me to even listen to this motherfucker's music. I mean, he's a musical genius, but like that other shit about him is fucked up. Like, as a person, he's a fucked up person. To use his position of power to fucking ruin women's lives, man, young girls' lives. Like, I can't respect that shit. And everyone knew this about R. Kelly. This was an open secret. But because this motherfucker was making everyone money, people turned the other way. So it's like, now that his money dried up, now everyone wants to throw him under now that he's not marketable anymore. He can't make them any money. So it's like, they don't give a fuck now. But when he was doing all these foul shit, they didn't give a fuck as long as he was making the money. There's a lot of people involved that covered his ass. And I hope he gets whatever that's coming to him. Like, it's fucked up on so many levels. And I don't know if Aaliyah was living, if she could have came out and said what R. Kelly did to her. We just will never know. And it's just sad all around. Like, I don't even like listening to the testimonies, man. It's just very disgusting. It's very it's really deplorable. And I just hope he gets what he got coming to him. But yeah, if anyone want to come up on the panel before I log off, I just wanted to give my take on that. Now, they already had a closing argument in the trial, so we shall see the outcome. But he deserved to get whatever is coming to him because he ain't shit. It will never be shit. Like, I have no love for motherfuckers who harm people and ruin lives. Like, you don't like these motherfuckers who do this to people. You fuck them up mentally. Like, fuck those motherfuckers like that. I don't give a fuck about your status. Like, wrong is wrong. I don't give a fuck that you make good music or you were a great, fantastic actor. Nah, I'm not. No, fuck you. What's up, Pat? What's up, LC? But yeah, man, fuck R. Kelly for life. And people like him. Fuck him. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, he made good music, but still, fuck him. Because he did people dirty. Like, he's a piece of shit, and fuck the people who allowed it, who facilitated it, all that. Fuck all of them. Because he didn't do this all alone. Nah, he got help. I can't, like, he's a piece of shit. Fuck him for what he did to those girls, including Aaliyah. Fuck him. Cause I didn't even like how from what I remembered back then, they treated Aaliyah like she did something wrong. When all that came out about her illegal marriage to him, like they treated her like she did something wrong instead. That grown ass adult, like his ass should have been his ass should never been getting away with shit, period. But because motherfuckers was making money off this piece of shit, everyone turned a blind eye. Like, fuck him. And then Leah and the girls that he violated and took advantage of, they ain't do nothing wrong, man. Fuck him. He as an adult had no business messing with these girls. He should have left them the fuck alone. Period. I don't give a fuck. And this shit been going on for decades. Like, it's sickening as fuck. And and the way he treats women, like making them urinate in a fucking cup. And they had to get permission when they wanted to go somewhere. Like, this motherfucker had control issues. And even when he was interviewed on Gail's show and he had that goddamn outburst, I was scared for Gail King. I'm like, oh my gosh, this motherfucker is showing his true colors. This is how he really is behind closed doors, terrorizing these young girls / women. He's a piece of shit. Like, Gail, listen, if it wasn't for the cameras, he would have did something to Gail. That's an unstable ass motherfucker. Like, it's just amazing me how he got away with so much for decades. And he ain't the only one. Let's not get it twisted. He just one of the many. He ain't the only one. He just one of the many. But yeah, y'all, I'm about to get off of here. Fuck R. Kelly. Oh, somebody trying to come in. What's up, AMR? Still can't hear you. I'm gonna try to give you a chance to try to come in. That's what I'm saying, Pat. Like, this, he had these women have to ask permission to do shit. Like, he ain't shit. Like, I can't even listen to that motherfucker's music. Like, he's a piece of shit. And I was already done with his bitch ass when he got caught doing what he did to that child on video, urinating on her and shit. Fuck that nigga. Like, R. Kelly don't need to be out in public. I'm sorry. That motherfucker is beyond help. He needs to stay his ass locked the fuck up for life. Fuck him. But yeah, y'all, I'm about to get off of here. And fuck R. Kelly. Rest in peace to baby girl. And to all the victims, you have my support and love. All I care about the situation is the victims. Fuck that piece of shit. Peace.